I love it when video games try out something new. Just like everyone on this planet who played Portal, I loved it because it was not just a puzzle game. I was able to bend my brain with the portal gun. I loved the first old school Doom because it was the first game that put you right into the action. Gone were the days of just staring at the text and reading that you did something. This felt way more real. And who can forget about the Stanley Parable? If we're being honest, it is just a walking simulator, but you actively try to break the game and defy the narrative's orders every time you can. And through sheer luck, I was able to play another game that mixes things up a bit. It might not be as influential, but it still has some interesting aspects to it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Minit. And the best way I can describe it is... it's a classic Zelda title with time constraints. Nope, not Majora's Mask, but we'll get to that. You control this little cutesy guy here. I really don't know what he's supposed to be. A bird? Platypus? Tamagotchi? Either way, his life seems to be pretty uneventful at first. He's got a dog, a garden, probably a regular income, and there's even a beach nearby and... hello? You hear that? That is the call for adventure! Yeah, but not this time. You see, as soon as you pick up the sword, your nameless character gets cursed. From now on, he's destined to die every 60 seconds and be reborn at his house. So the goal of the game is to actually get back to a normal life, which is the adventure if you think about it. So yes, you go on an adventure. In Minit, you will visit lots of different places, like a bar, a desert, several dungeons, and a temple that is so secret, it has its own sign which points out how secret it is. And not just that, you might acquire lots of treasures and meet a lot of people who need your help. You know, basic adventuring stuff. Now, you may be asking, how am I able to visit all of that and actually finish the game when I die every 60 seconds? Well, the thing is, the world is not that big and it technically doesn't reset, only your Tamagotchi does. Think of it more as a brutal way to tell you that the day is over and that you need to sleep. Like right now. Once you solve a puzzle or complete a quest, you don't need to do it again. The game will recognize your progress as long as you're able to complete your task within the given time frame. Furthermore, you can find certain places in the game and declare them your new home, which means that you will respawn there now, essentially generating a new checkpoint. That way you will never be too far away to complete a quest. Later in the game, you can even find a hub that connects all the homes together via teleporter, so traveling around the world becomes a cakewalk. But nevertheless, at the heart and center of the game lies the 60-second respawn. Because it's not just, oh, kill some snakes here, run over there, get rid of some more snakes here before you run out of time. Minit explores the idea a little bit more. There are certain quests in the game that can only be solved by actively investing time in them. For example, that old fisherman here can give you directions to an awesome treasure, if you're willing to listen to his very slow speech. Come on, old man, I got places to be! And sometimes a character needs a bit of time to fix a boat, or the plant you water needs some time to grow, so you know what to do. Pile up those bodies like you're on a mission to beat John Wick's body count, and lo and behold, my reward is another heart container. Nice. Which brings me to another thing Minit does absolutely right. It is chock full with interesting things to do besides progressing the main plot. Remember the super secret hidden temple I mentioned? You can basically ignore the whole thing and never set foot in there. But if you do, you can find 2 puzzles to solve, one location that needs a certain item to go through, not gonna tell you what's up with that, and an octopus which asks you to find its 8 arms that have gone missing. You know, I really wonder where they went. Nah, it's gonna be alright. Another side quest you can do is go treasure hunting for gold coins all over the world. And if you find enough coins, you can trade them in at the local shoe store to get running shoes so you can make good on a few seconds. Or you could pick up a large bone from the cemetery and use it as an alternative weapon. Or you could just be nice and give it to your dog because you are a responsible owner. What I want to say is, limited time, small-sized world, lots of stuff to do and extras to find. However, fighting in this game is very basic. All you do is swing your sword, that is all. You can upgrade your sword to be throwable, but that's about all there is to combat. No magic, no special moves. Also, you are only allowed to carry one main item of which there are 3. The sword, the watering can, and the camera. You cannot fight with the watering can because that would be too awesome, but at certain locations you need to transport those items somewhere to solve a puzzle, which leaves you defenseless for the time being. It doesn't make things hard since you can almost dodge everything quite easily, but it's a nice idea. And as much praise as I give Minit right now, I can't help but also see the limitations and missed opportunities the 60-second mechanic has. At the heart of it, it's an adventure in the vein of a classic Zelda title. The way you find the sword, which just lies on a beach, is nearly identical to the opening in Link's Awakening. And on further investigation, I noticed a lot of other things that mirror the early Zelda titles. The progression system, for example, is the same. You explore the world, and sooner or later you stumble upon an item that unlocks a new skill, which in turn lets you explore new areas. The first obstacle you have to overcome are flowers and bushes that block your way. Once you pick up the cursed sword, you are able to cut them down and cover more ground. And with that sword, you're able to help a barkeeper get rid of his crab problem, and before you get any dirty thoughts, I mean the crabs outside the bar who keep people away from it. Helping him nets you a coffee, and from now on you're able to push boxes out of the way, which of course opens up new areas for you. We have seen this formula countless times by now, but putting a time limit on this tried and true formula puts a new spin on it. It forces you to prioritize. What do I do with this run? Shall I go back to this one location and try to solve this puzzle with my new item? Or should I try to fight this bull one more time? This is what makes an otherwise unremarkable adventure interesting. You can't just walk around willy-nilly, you only have so many seconds in your day before you're done, so you better do the most with what you have. But on the other side, it is just that. A time limit. A time limit that unfortunately doesn't run too deep and has no impact on the game itself. And that becomes blatantly apparent when you play Mary's mode. After completing the game with a 100% rating, aka you found all the secrets and items, you can play as Mary the Friendly Ghost. But in this run, you do not have a time limit. And here's where the game basically becomes just a mini Zelda title. You go through the world, do quest after quest, and the end. Don't get me wrong, Zelda quality is good quality, but here I realized how much more you could have done with the 60-second loop. Let me give you an example. As it is right now, I help the barkeeper with his crabs, and that is it. He remembers me for the rest of the game, I got my coffee, and even though the crabs respawn, they are never mentioned again. But what if I wake up, the barkeeper has the same problem again, but because I am further in the game, I found a different solution. Instead of killing the crabs, why not make the crabs his best customers? I'm just spitballing here, but you could have done so much more wacky fun stuff with a true time loop instead of, oh, your time is up, better luck next day. But then again, I think that's not the point. I honestly believe that the message of the game is to make the best out of your given time and not give you unlimited time. So I settle for Zelda with a time limit, which in all honesty is still hella enjoyable. And I think it's so enjoyable because Minit doesn't take itself that serious, and it knows, it is fully aware of how quirky, cute, and silly it is. I swear this is the last time I compare it to Zelda, okay? In the Zelda titles, you go on epic adventures, usually to free the world from evil, save one or multiple princesses. In Minit, well, you want to lift a curse that resets you, but there's no real backstory. In the Zelda universe, there's this evil that gets reborn every day or so, and so do Link and Zelda, and there are goddesses and whatnot. But here, you found a sword, it's not even explained why it's cursed. And yeah, there is a bad guy in the game as well, but his motivations are best described as not there or nonsensical, I don't know. The quirkiness shows in a lot of instances. For example, you can find an NPC who just sits in a box and asks you to find his credit card for him. Also, you can just go and water every single NPC you meet, often to very funny results. One of them rather deadly. And I do believe the minimalistic and monochrome art style even sets the mood for this quirkiness. In fact, the simple idea of a 60-second adventure complements very well with the simple graphics. When I enter a new area, I am instantly able to identify the objects I can interact with and which ones are just decoration. The characters you meet along the way are distinct and unique, and you could put each of them on a cereal box and you'd have a new mascot. I really like the music as well. It's the right kind of whimsical and upbeat to make you want to explore everything there is, and even though I think not every piece of music fits, those songs never got on my nerves. However, there is one thing I really do not like about Minit. It's very short. With an average playtime of about 2 hours, 3 if you want to find everything, the adventure is over way too soon. But then again, this game only costs $10, has no game-breaking bugs, and was developed by just 4 people in a pretty short period of time. If Minit was edible, I would classify it as a treat. A nice little snack before dinner. And I'm a little bit sad that I only found the game now because it is 2 years old already. But nevertheless, I enjoyed playing it. On the one hand, it utilizes some tried and true mechanics from other games and it also puts its own spin on them. But then again, it doesn't explore this new spin far enough to truly make an impact. But for what it's worth, it's a very entertaining game, especially if you want to have bite-sized small adventures.